Hey everybody, it's War Boss Fitz coming to you again with another how to play video for one of the armies in one-page rules. Remember to like and subscribe and come back every week for our next Army of the Week. This week we're going back to the Grimdark Future and we are going to talk about the Custodian Brothers, the Golden Boys, the Big Kahunas, the Banana Men themselves, and what is quite possibly the most elite army in Grimdark Future. So before we get into the army list, this week's 3D Creator Spotlight is going to be split in half because I chose models from two different creators to create this army of the Custodian Brothers. For the Custodians and Destroyers in the army, I used a company called Atlan Forge, where they create highly stylized power armored units. If you're looking to make a power armored faction that you really want to lean into a theme, go check those guys out. They even have some stuff that's kind of out there, but is right up my alley. And our second half of the 3D Creator Spotlight is Heroes Infinite. That's where we got all of our sister units today. They have huge collections of very detailed 3D models that are all split into different collections that all follow a separate theme. So next time you're poking around on my mini factory, go give them a look. So let's go ahead and dig into the Custodian Brothers. And we're going to start where we always start out with these, is going over the special rules. Now, this army does not have as many special rules as the other armies we've gone over in the past because these guys, most of the power in this army is going to be in the units themselves. So starting from the top, Company Standard. Once per activation, pick 2 friendly units within 12, which get +1 to their next morale test roll. Custodian Tactics. Once per activation, before attacking, pick 1 other friendly unit within 12, which may move by up to 6. Eternal Vigilant. This model and its unit gets +1 to hit in melee. Heavy Shield. Attacks targeting units where all models have this rule count as having AP -1 to a minimum of 0. High Prosecutor. This model and its unit get +1 to hit when shooting. Holy Shield. When this model and its unit take a wound, roll 1 die and on a 6+ it is ignored. If the wound was from a spell, then it is ignored on a 2+ instead. And Witch Destroyer. This model and its unit move +2 on advance and +4 on rush and charge. Now, the way this army works out is that the special rules in this army are kind of segregated between the Custodian Brothers themselves and the different Sisters units. But if you do want to, you can integrate the Sisters characters inside of the Custodian squads. And the reason you would want to do that is that the Sisters are the ones that are going to have access to the Eternal Vigilant, High Prosecutor, and Witch Destroyer. So if you think that your Custodian Brothers need a little bit more punch, they need to go a little bit faster, or if you want to use them mainly for shooting, it's an option that you could put the Sisters in there to buff that particular aspect of the squad. Because the 2 Custodian Brother characters do not have any rules that give these buffs to their squad, that only comes from the Sisters. So that is an option that you can use. I don't really see it used much, but in case you want to do a full integrated Custodian Brothers and Sisters army, you can make that work somehow. But for all the Custodian Brothers that we're going to see, the main rules that they're going to have access to is Heavy Shield, and they're also going to have the ability to get regeneration. And you are going to see the Custodian Brothers have Defensive 2, if it is the big gold Banana Boys. That regeneration plus the Heavy Shield put into that mix, these guys are the tankiest infantry in the game. So that does it for the special rules. The Custodian Brothers do not have a spell list, so we're not going to go over spells with this army because they don't have access to a caster. If you're going to want spells in your army, you're going to have to ally in some other army that comes with a spell list. So with the spells out of the way, even though we didn't do them, we're going to go to our first character, who is the Master Destroyer. 245 points, quality 3, defensive 2, ambush, fearless, hero, and toughness 9. Now at toughness 9, this guy is not allowed to join into a squad. He has to be by himself on the table. He comes with a shot mount, 2 shots at 12 inches for AP 1. He has an axe, which is 2 attacks with blast 3. And he has a wrist grenade launcher, 1 shot at 12 inches for blast 3. You can upgrade him to a captain to give him Custodian Tactics, which is the once per activation he can tell somebody within 12 to move up to 6 inches. And you could also give him a standard bearer for fear 3. You can replace his shot mount and axe with an energy lance. 6 attacks at AP 1 with the lance rule. And the lance rule is whenever this model charges, it gets AP plus 2, so that turns into 6 attacks at AP 3. You can replace the shot mount with a flame mount for 1 shot at 12 inches with blast 3 and reliable. Reliable means that you are going to always hit on a 2. A fuse mount for 1 shot at 12 inches, AP 4 and deadly 3. This is going to be your anti-heavy infantry or anti-tank weapon. A bolt mount for 3 shots at 18 inches with rending. A needle mount, 3 shots at 24 inches with poison. And both of those weapons, the rending and the poison, they shut off regeneration if your opponent has it. And lastly, you can replace the shot mount with a storm mount, 3 shots at 24 inches at AP 1. And then you can replace his axe with a halberd for 2 attacks at AP 2 with deadly 3. A sword, 6 attacks at AP 1 with rending. Or a spear, 6 attacks at AP 4. And his last upgrade is you can give him heavy shield, which means that he reduces the AP of any attacks coming at him by 1. And with defense 2, that means even things that are AP 4 that are meant to go through everything else in the game, he's still going to get a 5-up save. Now, if you're new to this, what I like to do is after I go over a unit, I like to tell you some ideas on how to use them. And the Master Destroyer, with his ambush ability and his 6 attacks, I'm going to be using the Master Destroyer as a backline terrorist. He is going to ambush behind the enemy to either A, corral the enemy towards your frontline troops, or B, charge stuff that they don't want to get charged. And if you upgrade him to the spear for 6 attacks at AP 4, whatever he charges, he's going to put a hurting on somebody. Now, the way I like to use him, you don't want to take Custodian tactics because odds are you might not be close enough to another Custodian unit to actually get that to work. And Fear 3 on the Master Destroyer, if you need Fear 3 to win a combat, that means that this Master Destroyer is getting hit with something incredibly hard. Because the Fear rule means that whenever you finish a combat in melee, you add that to the number of wounds that you cause. Like say if you charge something and for some reason you don't do any wounds to it at all, the Fear 3 ability means that it will count as you doing 3 wounds when you figure out who has to take the morale test at the end. So barring dice that go completely sideways on you, that Fear ability will probably never come into the equation. So our next unit we're coming to is the Master Custodian. 150 points, quality 3, defensive 2, fearless, hero, and toughness 6. He has an axe with 2 attacks with blast 3, and a shot mount for 2 shots at 12 inches with AP 1. He can be upgraded to a warden, which gives him self-regeneration, a captain, which gives him custodian tactics, or a standard bearer, which gives him that Fear 3. You can replace a shot mount and axe with an energy lance, just like the Master Destroyer. You can replace the shot mount with all the same weapons, the fuse mount, flame mount, bolt mount, needler mount, and storm mount. Replace the axe with all the same weapons, the halberd, sword, and spear. And this is where we get into the differences. You can give him the heavy shield ability for the AP -1. You can also give him a jump pack, which gives this character ambush and flying. You can give him a jet bike, which gives him fast, strider, toughness +3, which puts him to toughness 9, which means he'll have to operate on his own. And a twin devastator, 4 shots, 24 inches at AP 3. And then if you take the jet bike, you can replace that devastator with a fusion missile, 2 shots at AP 4, deadly 3 at 18-inch range. A heavy rifle array, 6 shots, 24 inches at AP 1. A twin laser pulsar, 2 shots at 24 inches, blast 3 in AP 2. Or a twin heavy machine gun, 6 shots at 30 inches at AP 1. Now, the Master Custodian, you can give them a jetpack, and you could do the same thing you could do with the Master Destroyer, drop him behind enemy lines, become a terrorist for the enemy. Or you can give him a jet bike, and he can shoot himself up the middle, equip him with a heavy lance, smash into combat that way. Or if you want to have your Master Custodian be a ranged threat, then you can give him the jet bike and whatever weapon of your choice. Going after vehicles would be the fusion missile. Going after troops, it's going to be the heavy rifle array or the twin heavy machine gun. And then the laser pulsar is what you're going to use if you're going after groups. Now we come to our last character in the army, the Great Sister. 65 points to start off with, quality 4, defensive 3, fearless, hero, and toughness 3. She comes equipped with an energy sword for 4 attacks, AP1 with rending. This is where you can give her the upgrades, the Eternal Vigilant, Witch Destroyer, and High Prosecutor. You can replace her energy sword with a prosecution rifle for 2 shots at 24 inches and a close combat weapon that gives her 4 attacks. Or a flamer for 1 shot at 12 inches, blast 3, and reliable with a close combat weapon that gives her 4 attacks. You can then give her an upgrade that will have her synergize with the different sister squads. The prosecution ammo giving her relentless means that she's going to synergize with the sister squad that are armed with prosecution rifles that also have relentless. Vigilant Oath gives this character Furious, which allows her to go with the sister squad with swords who also have Furious. And then Hunter Instinct goes onto the Flamer armed sister squad to give her Scout, because that Flamer armed squad also has Scout. This way she can be in the squad and she's not holding that squad back because she doesn't share the same special rules as that squad. It's especially noticeable in the Hunter Instinct because if the rest of the squad has Scout and she doesn't, the squad can't Scout, just because it doesn't mechanically work. You can give her a Holy Shield, which gives her squad a 6-up regeneration, which is on top of normal regeneration. Just an added layer of protection. So like I said in the beginning, what you can do with this great sister is you could put her inside your units of custodians if you want to give them a little buff. But what she's really made for is to go with the other sister squads to increase their lethality. For the shooting sisters, that's where she would take the High Prosecutor to give their units +1 to hit when they're shooting. For the sisters armed with swords, that's where she would get the Eternal Vigilant to give them +1 to hit in melee. And for the sister squad armed with flamers, they already have Scouts, so they're going to be up the board at the beginning of the game. She gets the Witch Destroyer, which makes them faster the entire game. So those are all 3 of our characters. Now we're going on to the squads of troops. We're going to start off with the Custodian Brothers, 3 of them for 280 points, quality 3 and defensive 2, fearless and toughness 3. They come equipped with swords, which gives them 3 attacks with AP1 and rending, and shot mounts, where they get 2 shots at 12 inches, AP1. You can upgrade the whole squad with heavy shield or regeneration. You can replace any of their shot mounts with flame mounts, fuse mounts, bolt mounts, needle mounts, and storm mounts. You can replace any sword with an axe, halberd, or spear. And you can give one model a banner, which gives them +1 to their morale tests. So for this squad, what I like to do and what I'm going to do in the game is these are going to be wrecking ball squads. You're going to take your Custodian Brothers and you're going to arm them all with spears that give them all 3 attacks at AP4. So they're going to have heavy shield, which is -1 to the AP of any attacks coming in, and regeneration, which means that they're going to ignore a wound on 5-up. And they are just going to move forward, get in combat, and thrash whatever they touch. Now you can upgrade their weapons if you want, make them into a shooty squad, but in my mind, whenever you shoot at an enemy, you're only really going to be able to pin that unit. If you attack the enemy in melee and you win that combat, you can make them run off the board. So with shooting, you're going to have to kill all of them. With melee, just a little over half to get them to possibly leave the board. Our next unit is the Sagittarius Brothers, 3 of them for 355 points, quality 3, defensive 2, fearless, relentless, and toughness 3. They come equipped with daggers, which gives them 2 attacks in close combat, bolt rifles, which are 2 shots at 30 inches at AP1, and they each have a disintegrator mod, which is 1 shot at 18 inches with AP4. You can give all the models combat shield for heavy shield or warden for regeneration. Now these are going to be your shooty Custodian Brothers. They have the bolt rifles to take care of any chaff they might run against, and they have disintegrator mods where they're going to be able to take out some heavier armored targets. Now what you can do with this squad is if you have a objective that's close to your deployment zone, move these guys onto that objective and then camp them there, because that relentless rule means that if they roll a 6, whenever they shoot at something and they have not moved that turn, they get an extra hit. So once you get them where they want to be, park them, don't move them again. That way you can get some extra hits if you spike your dice. Our next unit is the Jetpack Brothers. 3 of them for 250 points, quality 3, defensive 3, ambush, fearless, flying, and toughness 3. They each come equipped with a destroyer pistol for 2 shots at 9 inches with rending, and they all have daggers for 3 attacks apiece. You can upgrade them with a combat shield and warden for heavy shield and regeneration, and you can replace any destroyer pistols and daggers for a spear and a shot mount, or a storm mount and a spear. Now what you're going to want to do with this squad is you're going to want to use the ambush rule, drop them behind the enemy or drop them on a flank that the enemy doesn't really want you to hit. I would equip them with the spears and charge all day long. They're going to get a whole lot more mileage out of the melee than they will in shooting. Some of these squads are real simple. All you got to do is look at the sheet. You can pretty much, they'll tell you what they want to do. Now we're going to go to our Sisters units. Our first one is the Vigilant Sisters, 5 of them for 125 points, quality 4, defensive 3, fearless and furious. I don't know if I've explained furious. I know I talked about it, but I didn't know if I explained it. But furious means that whenever you charge into melee, if you roll a 6 to hit, you get an additional hit. And they are all armed with energy swords for 2 attacks at AP1 with rending. You can upgrade one model to be holding a holy shield, which gives the whole squad that 6+ ignore wounds. Now these are obviously just a melee unit. What you could do is you could put one of the Great Sisters in here with the Eternal Vigilant, which gives them all +1 to hit, or if you want to, you can give her Witch Destroyer and attach her, which gets this squad moving faster, which would give them a 16-inch charge instead of a 12-inch charge. Our next squad is the Prosecution Sisters, 5 of them for 155 points, quality 4, defensive 3, fearless and relentless. This is the one where if you stand still, you get an extra hit when you shoot and you roll a 6. They're all armed with close combat weapons, which give them 1 attack, and they all have prosecution rifles for 2 shots at 24 inches, and you can also give them the Holy Shield for 20 points. Now this is another squad that does exactly what it says on the box. They shoot stuff. And with Relentless, they get to where they want to be, they stand still and they shoot stuff. The big play here is just take the character sister, give her high prosecutor, put her in the squad, and all of a sudden they're hitting everything on a 3. Then our last sister unit are the Hunter Sisters, 3 of them for 105 points, quality 4, defensive 3, fearless and scout. Again, I talked about it, didn't explain what it was. Scout gives you the ability before the game starts to get a 12-inch move out of your deployment zone. So these girls are going to be starting the game at the halfway mark. They're all equipped with close combat weapons for 1 attack, and they all have a flamer, which is 1 shot at 12 inches with blast 3 and reliable means that you hit on a 2. So for each of these sisters that gets a hit, it's going to be 3 hits because of the blast 3. As long as the enemy has 3 models or more in the squad, you can only ever get as many blast hits as models in that squad. And they can take the Holy Shield upgrade as well. So again, the play with this is to take that sister character, give her Witch Destroyer, and then not only do you start at the halfway mark, but then you are fast to run around the board and fry stuff with your flamers. You don't need +1 to hit because you're going to hit on a 2. It doesn't get any better than that. These are going to be your chaff clearers of the army. Now we're going to get into our single entity large stuff / vehicles, and our first one is the Destroyer. Yes, these are the Terminator equivalents. They come in groups of 1. So Destroyer for 165 points, quality 3, defensive 2, ambush, fearless, and toughness 6. They come with a shot mount, 2 shots at 12 inches at AP1, and an axe, 1 attack with blast 3, and a wrist grenade launcher, 1 attack at 12 inches with blast 3. You can replace that shot mount with a needle mount or a storm mount. You can replace the axe with a halberd or a spear, and you can upgrade this guy to carry the company standard. Quite honestly, the company standard is going to be wasted points here because he has quality 3 and fearless. And I don't know, again, I don't know if I said what fearless does. I talk about these rules and then I forget to explain them. But fearless means that if you take a morale test and you fail, you roll another dice. And on a 4+, that morale test counts as passed. So it's still possible that you do fail the morale test, but this guy in particular has to roll a 2 on his morale test, and then even after that, he's got a 50-50 shot of just passing anyways. So again, what I like to do with the Destroyers is to ambush them into the enemy lines, give them a spear, and they become big bully units, corralling stuff to where you want it to go. That's going to be your best use for a Destroyer, but like I usually say, I have the smooth brain of an orc. I could be wrong. Our next unit is the Destructor, 175 points, quality 3, defensive 2, ambush, fearless, and toughness 6. Comes equipped with an energy claw for 6 attacks with rending, and a heavy flamer, 1 attack at 12 inches with AP1, blast 3, and reliable. Yes, this is just a destroyer that has claws and a flamethrower. You can replace the heavy flamethrower with a twin destructor for 4 shots at AP2 at 24 inches, or a heavy storm rifle, 6 shots at 24 inches with AP1, And you can replace the energy claw with an energy fist that gives you 3 attacks at AP 4. Now this is going to be the ranged version of your bully unit. I would say give this guy the heavy storm rifle, drop down an ambush to the enemy's squishy underbelly, and just start blasting. And with it being range of 24, he does not have to worry about killing whatever he's shooting at to start with and then having to get across the board to his next target. He can reach out and touch people. Next unit we come to is the jet bikes. Yes, in this army they are single entities as well. 245 points, quality 3, defensive 2, fast, fearless, strider, and toughness 6. Strider, I haven't talked about it yet, but strider means that you ignore all the penalties of difficult terrain. It comes equipped with an energy lance for 3 attacks, AP 1 with the lance rule, so that means when it charges it's AP 3, and a twin devastator for 4 shots at 24 inches with AP 3. You can replace the devastator with a fusion missile, heavy rifle array, twin laser pulsar, or a twin heavy machine gun, just like you could on the character. So these are going to be your units that you're going to use to zip around the flanks, corral the enemy towards the rest of your army from the flanks, just like your ambushers are trying to do from the rear. And then with their lances, they can either get in there and mix it up in melee, or you can give them one of the ranged upgrades and they can just sit back and blast stuff. Now we're getting into vehicles. We have the anti-grav light tank for 290 points, quality 3, defensive 2, fast, fearless, impact 6, strider, and toughness 6. Comes equipped with a twin blazer for 2 shots at 30 inches with AP 3 and deadly 3, and the unit has no upgrades. When you buy this, this is what you get. So with only having 2 shots with a deadly 3 weapon, this is going to be used for kind of light anti-tank duty. It's going to be able to get through the armor, but with deadly 3 and only 2 shots, it can do a max of 6 damage a turn. But again, it's only 290 points, so that's pretty good for its points cost. And with the pictures on these tanks, I couldn't really find anyone who officially made these. These are all just kind of fan uploads to either Cults or My Mini Factory, so the designs are out there. You guys just gotta look for them. Maybe get a little inventive with your keywords. Next, we're gonna go to the anti-grav battle tank. 555 points, quality 3, defensive 2, fast, fearless, impact 6, strider, and toughness 12. Comes equipped with a twin heavy blazer for 2 shots at 36 inches, AP 3 and deadly 3, and a twin bolt cannon for 6 shots at 30 inches at AP 1. And you can replace the twin heavy blazer with a twin accelerator for 6 shots at 36 inches with AP 2. So once we get to this point, I think all of the tanks are going to be not very point effective, because this tank with its 2 weapons it comes equipped with is going to be equipped for light anti-tank and a little bit of horde killing. Then if you put the twin accelerator on there, it's going to be equipped for all horde killing, giving it 12 shots, 6 of them at AP 2, 6 of them at AP 1. 555 points, that feels a little steep for that, especially when the rest of your army has so many attacks in close combat and so many ways to get cheaper, more numerous firepower on the board. But with this, I would definitely give it the twin accelerator just to give it 12 shots at AP 1 and 2, and I'd go after the heavier infantry of the enemy like Battle Brothers. Next unit is the Custodian Heavy Battle Tank, 880 points, quality 3, defensive 2, fast, fearless, impact 6, toughness 18, and transport 11. Comes with a quad laser cannon for 4 shots at 36 inches, AP 3 with deadly 3, and a twin heavy machine gun for 6 shots at 30 inches and AP 1. You can give it a hunter missile for 1 shot at AP 2, 24 inches, deadly 3, lock on and limited. Limited means you only get 1 shot per game. And you can also give it a storm rifle for 3 shots at 24 inches at AP 1. Now, because this is a transport, you can put your custodians in it, but because your custodians all have toughness of 3, they're all going to take up 3 slots. So in this heavy battle tank, you're only going to be able to put 3 of your custodians, or you could put a 10-woman squad of your sisters and a great sister. And this thing having an 880 point price tag on it, I don't know, I'd rather have my troops moving on foot. Our last tank we're going to talk about is the Anti-Grav Heavy Battle Tank, 820 points, quality 3, defensive 2, fast, fearless, impact 6, strider, and toughness 18. It comes with a twin blazer, 2 shots at 30 inches, AP 3 and Deadly 3, and twin heavy bolt cannon, 12 shots at 30 inches, AP 1, and you can give it the transport upgrade, which gives it a transport of 6. So again, the transport, if you take that, you're going to run into the problem that you're not going to be able to fit even one squad of custodians in there because they're going to take 9 slots. So the most you could take is a 5-woman sister squad with a great sister inside. I don't know if it's worth it to put them in the transport. And then with the weapon loadouts, again, you've got light anti-tank with 2 shots at Deadly 3 and 12 shots at AP 1. You've got lots of infantry killing potential, but you're at almost 1,000 points. This, again, is going to be kind of a narrative thing that you would take. I would not take this in a competitive style game. It has defensive 2 with toughness 18, so it's going to be hard to take out. The problem is it's not going to be able to take out much in return. So the last things we're going to talk about is the walkers, and they have 3 different flavors. First, we're starting off with a Custodian Assault Walker, 420 points, quality 3, defensive 2, fear 2, fearless, toughness 12. It comes with 2 destroyers, which will be 4 shots at 18 inches with rending, a spear for 2 attacks, AP 4 and Deadly 3, a rapid shot mount for 4 shots at 12 inches, AP 1, and then it has a stomp attack and melee for 4 attacks at AP 1. You can replace the rapid shot mount with a rapid flame mount or a rapid storm mount. It's the same weapons we went over before, it just doubles the output. You can replace any of the destroyers with a flamer or a storm rifle, and you can replace the spear and 2 of the destroyers with a combat shield to give it heavy shield and a heavy sword for 8 attacks at AP 1 and rending. Now, if I was going to put this in the army list, I would go with the combat shield and heavy sword. That's going to give it more attacks, and it's going to make it more survivable, giving it AP -1 to incoming fire. And then what I would do is just march this thing up the middle, daring the enemy to try to take it out, and running up and poking stuff that gets too close. Then we have our Custodian Attack Walker, 460 points. This is going to be the shooty version of the Walker. Quality 3, defensive 2, fear 2, fearless, and toughness 12. Comes with 4 attacks in close combat with Stomp at AP 1, 3 shots, AP 1 at 24 inches with a storm rifle. Comes equipped with a Walker Fist, 4 attacks at AP 4, and a super heavy fusion rifle, 1 shot, AP 4, Deadly 6 at 18-inch range. And you can replace that super heavy fusion rifle with a heavy minigun, giving it 6 shots at AP 2 with 24-inch range. So this Walker is going to be our only source that we've seen of Deadly 6 in the whole army. So this guy is going to be kind of a heavier anti-tank option, but even then it's only 1 shot at 18 inches. The heavy minigun on it, giving it 6 shots at AP 2, 24-inch range. I don't know if that's going to be worth it on this Walker, because at that point it becomes kind of redundant with the rest of the stuff in the army. This one's a tough one. I'm sure if you got a really cool model and you want to run it, go for it. Is it a competitive option? I'm not sure. There might be niche spots where you want to have a ranged weapon over melee with the Custodians in case you're fighting an army that's all fast like the elves and they just don't want to come and give you a hug. This way you can take some guns and make them party at long range. And our last unit is going to be the Custodian Heavy Walker, 775 points. Quality 3, defensive 2, fear 3, fearless, toughness 18. Comes equipped with a bolt launcher for 6 shots at AP 1, 24-inch range, 6 attacks with AP 2 in melee from its stomp, 2 twin plasmas, which will be 4 shots at 12 inches, AP 4 and blast of 3, and 2 light walker fists, 4 attacks at AP 3. And you can replace the light walker fist and twin plasmas. You get to do this twice because you're equipped with 2 pairs of these. You can take one of those sets off and give it a storm cannon for 2 shots at AP 3, deadly 3 at 30 inches, or an accelerator gun, 6 shots at AP 2, 36-inch range. My initial thoughts looking at this unit are those twin plasmas are going to be where you're going to want to party. 4 shots at AP 4 with blast of 3, even though it's only 12-inch range, that is just walking up to an enemy heavy infantry squad, even if they're buried in cover, and just going bleh and vomiting plasma all over them. So if I had this unit in the army, that's what I would do. Just march it forward and vomit plasma over anything that gets too close, and then fire the bolt launcher at other things that are further away that are giving you problems. So that's it for the Custodian Brothers army list. We've gone through every single unit that's in the army, and this is a very elite style army list. In the 2,000 point game that we got coming up, I have 16 models in it. But today, because we are in Grimdark Future, it is going to be the Custodian Brothers fighting against the Tau Union. There are going to be some things in the army. Now, I don't build to counter whatever army came first. Like, I didn't build the Custodian Brothers to take on the Tau Union. I pretty much build a all-comers list and throw them against each other just to see what's going to happen. So this will be a little bit interesting. We're going to see a moving line of spears and then destroyers dropping in around, trying to pull a hammer and anvil tactics on the enemy. And the Tau Union are kind of going to be doing the same thing, except they're going to have a front line that is stationary and shooting, while their battle suits drop in all around, trying to do their version of a hammer and anvil tactic. So this battle is going to be interesting. And I'll see you all in the garage. So here we are out in the garage, everybody. This is our custodian list for today. It has one Master Destroyer up there at the top. He is armed with a spear and a heavy shield. We also have two more individual destroyers. They're both armed with spears as well, even though they got the two big old power fists on their hands. We're going to count those for spears. Then we have three squads of three Custodian Brothers, again, all armed with spears. They have the heavy shield and the Warden regeneration ability. And finally, we have three Hunter Sisters that are going to be scooting around before the game even starts. Their opponent today is going to be the Tau Union that we had on the channel 2 weeks ago, last time we did a Grimdark Future video. I'll go ahead and flash up the army list on the screen so you guys take a quick look at it. But what is going to give the Custodian Brothers the most trouble, I think, are going to be the three squads of dropping battle suits. So this is our battlefield set up for today. There is quite a lot of open fields of fire, looking that it might favor the Tau Union in this fight, but we're going to see just how durable these Custodian Brothers really are. Once again, there are 6 objectives on the board, and then we are going to use the mission cards. Each team is going to draw 5 cards. They're going to be able to score as many cards as possible every turn, and they're also going to be able to discard one if they feel like they cannot achieve that objective. Anything that is not possible, the card's just going to get tossed to begin with, so you might see me do that if, say, the Custodian Brothers pull off a card that says they got to cast a spell. They don't even have a spell list, so it's going to get tossed. So let's take a look at the deployments. We are real sparse today. We have our stealth suits on the corner. Our first floor is full of shotguns. Second floor is full of the 30-inch rifles, and then the 30-inch rifles sitting on this objective. Over on the Custodian side, we have one squad of Custodians on this objective, another squad of Custodians in the center, and then a squad of Custodians and the Hunter Sisters on the far flank. Now for the Custodian Brothers, the 2 destroyers and the Master Destroyer are in ambush, and for the Tau Union, all 3 of the battlesuit squads are also in ambush. Let's go ahead and look at the objectives for each team. We're going to start with the Tau Union. Take no prisoners. On the march. Seize 2, area dominance, and seize 5. Then for the Custodian Brothers, seize 5, slay the king, volley fire, seize 3, and seize 4. Now we're going to see who goes first. The Tau Union are going to be white, and the Custodian Brothers are going to be black. The Custodian Brothers start off turn number 1. So before turn number 1 starts, these Hunter Sisters here, they get a scout move. And one of their objectives is to take objective number 5. So instead of using a whole lot of point Custodian unit to do it, we're just going to have them pop over here. So they'll start turn 1 on top of 5. So first actual activation for the Custodian Brothers. They have objectives for both of these two. So this squad is going to double time their move, because honestly they're here for the spears, not for the guns. They're going to end up taking objective number 4. Time for the Tau Union to activate. We're going to take this squad here that has the grunt leader and the 10 grunts with the 30-inch range guns, and they're just going to move to the windows. Something like that. Now, what they're going to do in their activation is their leader and the squad. Between them, they have 3 spotting lasers. They're going to attempt to spot them 3 times, so they're going to use as many spotting lasers as they can to get down to 2+ to hit. So the squad has 3 spotting lasers. We're going to try to hit with all 3. We need a 4+. We hit with 1. So what that's going to do is we're going to put 1 spotting laser marker on them, and then we're going to immediately use it to give this squad +1 to hit. So it's going to be 10 shots hitting on a 4. So that was 5 hits. Normally they'd be AP1, but because of the heavy shield of the Custodians, they take away that 1 AP. So the Custodians are saving on a 2. They take 1 wound, but they also have regeneration. So they don't take anything. Over here on the Custodian activation, we're going to have this squad. They, again, are going to double time around all kinds of stuff to get further up the board. This squad over on the opposite corner, they are just going to kind of shuffle to there. The reason they shuffled is because now they're in line of sight of those guys. Oh, the same thing as before, 3 spotting lasers. Oh, we got 3 this time. We got 3 more markers there, so that's going to take us from 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to hit with that squad. So that's going to be 10 shots hitting on a 2 this time. We get 10 hits. Still the same armor penetration value, so the Custodes are going to save on a 2. We have 2 fails. Then they have regeneration on a 5. They fail them both. So one of our Custodians will be down to 1 wound remaining. This Custodian squad that was holding out objective number 6, they don't have that card this turn, so they are going to go 12 inches towards the middle to help with the push. Over here on the opposite flank, these stealth suits, they're just going to kind of wiggle this way a little bit. They don't need to hold 1 this turn, but they want to stay at the extreme range of their guns, which is 18 inches away from those guys. So this squad does not have any spotting lasers, but what they do have is their guns are rending, so it's going to remove the regeneration from the Custodians, hitting on a 4. One of those was a 6, saving on a 4. That fails, so they're going to take 1 wound, and then the other 4 saving on a 2. They save the rest. So that will take our lead Custodian down to 2 wounds remaining. Last activation for the Custodian Brothers. Our Hunter Sisters is going to hold on 5, so they score that point. Then our shotgun guys down here in the building, they're also going to hold. There's nothing really opportunistic for them to jump on at the moment, because if they get within shotgun range, that means that they're going to be within charge range next turn. And they don't want to do that. So time for points. The Dow Union get 1 point for seizing 2. Their new card is Terrify. And they are going to discard Take No Prisoners, because odds are they are not going to win a melee with the Custodians. So then they pull Shifting Strategy, where I have to roll a d6 for number 3. So they are going to try to seize number 3 or get on number 3 and hold it for an entire round. For the Custodians, they have Seize 4 and Seize 5. They're going to go ahead and discard Volley Fire because their job is not to shoot. So that means they get to draw 3 cards. They're going to draw Hold 1, Seize 3, and Hold 4. So in this game, we got a ton of ambushers coming in. We get to roll to see who puts what first. Again, the Dow are the white and the Custodians are the black. The Dow are going to get to drop first. The first Dow drop are going to be the 3 Flamer battle suits, dropping by objective number 5 in order to burn the Hunter Sisters. The first Custodian drop is the Master Destroyer, dropping right behind the building that has all of the Dow Union huddled inside. The Fusion rifle suits have dropped on objective number 6. They have dropped 14 inches away, which is going to be out of charge range for the Custodians if they want to double back. As an answer to that, one of the destroyers drops as close as they can to those Fusion battlesuits. Our last suit of battle squads, armed with the plasma guns, dropped in next to the stealth suits to help them on that flank. And then our last Custodian drop, the destroyer, drops on objective number 2, getting ready to give those rifle Dow a piece of his mind. So for recap, we have plasma suits, Master Destroyer, Destroyer, fusion suits, destroyer, flamer suits. So custodians get turn 1, and this would have been a problem. So the destroyer charged in there because leaving those 3 fusion armed battle suits to fire off unopposed is just not a good idea for the custodians. The destroyer has 6 attacks hitting on a 3. All 6 of the attacks hit. Now the battle suits normally save on a 3, but this is an AP4 weapon, so they're saving on a 6. And they fail all of them. So 6 wounds, that means 2 of the suits are going to go down. So the battle suit's going to attack back with its whole 2 attacks. It is quality 4, so it hits once, saving on a 2, and it saves. So now it is time for the suit to take a morale test, and it passes. So having 1 suit with fusion rifles is going to be better than all 3. So our battle suits with the plasma guns are going to use their self-contained spotting laser and all their plasma and fire at that squad right there. So first thing, we're going to use the spotting laser, and it goes off. They're going to immediately use that to give themselves quality of a 4 when they shoot. 9 plasma shots hitting on a 4. So that was 7 hits. Now it is AP4. Normally from an armor save 2 that sends you right to a 6, but they do have the heavy shield. So that means it's only going to technically be AP3. They're saving on a 5. So that was 3 fails. They do have regeneration for this. They fail all 3. So taking 3 wounds, that's going to be 1, 2, and then 3, taking him down to 2. Now the second destroyer is going to boom and charge into that squad. So 6 attacks hitting on a 3. One of them was cocked. There we go. So we come up with 4 hits, saving on a 6. So we 4 dead Dow grunts. So we got 1 attack from the leader on a 4. That fails. 6 attacks from the grunts on a 5. 2 hits. Saving on a 2. 2 saves. Morale test for the grunts. They're going to pass. So just moving back to there. So over here, the shotgun squad's going to move out, and they're going to fire at this guy. Let me set it up. So here we go. 10 shotgun guys are going to fire at our Master Destroyer. And I just read the rules again, you know, like I should have done. I forgot these guys have good shot. So it really has only affected 1 round of shooting so far, so it's not really going to matter. So we got 20 shots with the shotguns. With good shot, they're all hitting on a 4. So it's going to be 8 shots. The AP1, again, is negated because our Master Destroyer has the heavy shield. Saving on a 2, and he saves it all. Our squad of custodians in the middle, they got all plasmed up. They are going to go 6 inches over here to objective number 3. And then they're going to shoot somebody. So they are out of range to shoot at this squad here. They're at about 13 inches away, so they're going to aim everything up to the 2nd floor to hit the rifle squad inside. And then they each have 2 shots from their 12-inch shot mounts hitting on a 3. And then it is AP1, so saving on a 4. They save them all. It is the Dow Union's activation. This squad is going to move forward 6 to put themselves onto the objective. And then they are going to burninate the Hunter Sister squad. So these guys do not have a spotting laser because they rock flamers. They don't need it. But they do have 2 burst weapons, 2 hits. Saving on a 3. 1 goes through. And then the 4 flamers. 3 hits because they are reliable. So that turns into 9 hits, saving on a 3. And that's going to be enough to take out the sisters. So the Dow Union has successfully taken objective 5. Custodian's turn. This squad over here is going to go 12 inches to here, really encroaching on this objective over there. This guy is going to put his 2 fusion rifles right into that destroyer's face. Now this guy does have a built-in spotting laser, which hits. So he is the last guy in the squad carrying the 2 fusion rifles. He's going to hit on a 3 using the spotting laser. 1 hit. Now our destroyer does not have a heavy shield, so he saves on a 6 and fails. So he's going to take 3 wounds. And since he is a single wound entity, that takes him to half. Morale check. He passes. It got a little scary for a moment. 3 wounds left. So Papa Destroyer over here is just going to go over here and do some business. So the Master Destroyer has 6 attacks, hitting on a 3. The little grunt saving on a 6. As I missed the box with 1, so 4 go down. So 6 attacks from the shotgunners, hitting on a 5. Ooh, we got 4 hits. Saving on a 2. Morale test for the grunts, and they fail. The big guy did not have any regeneration on him. Back an inch, he goes down to 8 wounds left. And then this squad is pinned. Our squad in the building here is going to use all of their spotting lasers and then fire their rifles at this squad here. So we got 3 spotting lasers on a 4. We got 3 spotting laser hits, so they're going to use 2 of them to turn themselves into +2 to hit. And they're going to save 1 for later. And between the 10 rifles and the grunt leader's shotgun, there's going to be 12 shots, hitting on a 2. Now it's all AP 1, but the heavy shields means it's AP nothing. So saving on a 2. We had 3 go through, so regeneration. They're going to take 2. That drops them down to a single guy, so morale test. Yeah, they passed. So this guy's going to be gone, but he passed the morale test here, so he's still got his 1 spotting laser. So it's going to be the last activation for the Custodians. These guys are just going to move to this side of this objective because they do have the mission card to hold 4 at the beginning and end of the turn. So that's what they're going to do. Over on objective number 2, this squad of grunts is going to use all of their spotting lasers and all their rifles on that destroyer. So first, they're going to attempt the 3 spotting lasers. Hey, triple 6s, all 3 hit. So they're going to use 2 to take themselves down to hitting on a 2, and there's going to be 1 left over. So then we got 6 rifles and 1 shotgun for 8 shots, hitting on a 2. Ooh, still quite a few 1s. So the destroyer saves on a 2. Saves them all. Last activation for the Dow, the stealth suits shuffled forward to get in range of that guy right there. So they're going to take that last spotting laser and they're going to hit on a 3, so 12 shots. Then we have 3 that were rending, so that is AP 4, but with his heavy shield saving on a 5. He fails all 3 of those. We don't need to go any further. But because those were rending shots, he does not get his regeneration. So that's the end of that squad. So for the Dow Union, they were able to score C's number 5 with these flamethrower suits. They are going to discard Terrify, and their 2 new cards are Big Game Hunter and Hold the Line. So for the Custodians, because the squad that was here got blown off, they actually had 2 for C's 3. So they lost out on 2 objective points, but they do have Hold 4, so they are going to get 2. They're going to save everything else, and their new objective is going to be Hold number 2. Just a quick overview on this side of the board. There are no Custodians in this entire 1/3 of the board. All of our Custodians are concentrated over here, and then there's the Master Destroyer. So the Dow Union have a shot. First activation, this guy is going to go punch him in the mouth. So he's going to have 6 attacks on a 3, and the suit saves on a 6. That'll be enough. Bye-bye, Mr. Suit. So first activation this turn for the Dow, they are going to recover their shotgun guys. Over here, these Custodians are going to charge into that squad of grunts. So with our full squad of Custodian Brothers, that's going to be 9 attacks, hitting on a 3. 7 hits, saving on a 6. 1 save. All that leaves is the grunt leader. Hey, he hits. Saving on a 2. And they save. So morale test for that leader. He fails. Don't worry, buddy. I think we'd all run away from that. Now, these guys on the 2nd floor, they are going to move there to there, and then they're all going to fire at Mr. Master Destroyer. So, same shtick as last time, 3 spotting lasers. 2 hits. We're going to use both of those and make us 2 to hit. 12 shots hitting on a 2. The big guy has -1 AP, so he's going to save on a 2. Oh, he saves them all. A couple of them just barely. I guess it pays to be in the heaviest armor in the game. So he's just going to charge right back into this squad here. So he's got 6 shots hitting on a 3. So it's going to be 3 hits. I meant he's got 6 attacks. These aren't shoot. He's not shooting. Saving on a 6. That's only going to be 2 dead. We got 4 guys attacking back, hitting on a 5. 2 hits. Saving on a 2. He saves. Morale test for the shotgun squad, and they fail. And that's just enough left to run off the board. Well, guys, you've done good being a speed bump. But, I mean, what you gonna do? So over here, our plasma gun squad is going to move to there and fire at the big guy. So they have 9 shots hitting on a 4. Not too bad, only 2 misses out of all that. So the plasma's AP4. He has a save of a 2 with heavy armor, meaning the plasmas are going to be AP3 in this case. Meaning he's got a save on a 5. He has no regeneration, so this is sketchy. So he loses 7 wounds. Wow, buddy. He is down to 1. Time for a morale test. So he passes morale on a 3. Oh no, but he does have fearless, which means on a 4 up he passes. He still fails. He's going to be pinned. That's terrible. The Dow got rid of Terrify because I did not think that was going to happen. He is pinned. So this Destroyer over here, he is going to double time it. Trying to go help his buddy. He still has his 1 spotting laser on him. Our flame pursuits over here, they did their job last turn, so now they're going to go 12 inches this way. And with their flying, they don't care about that wall. And here in the middle, because they have so many objectives for number 3, 12 inches is going to put them right on the cusp here. Just enough to put their toe in to take objective 3. And then our last activation for the Dow, our stealth suits, they're going to go up 6. And that will put them just in range to fire at that squad. So nothing special. It's going to be 12 shots hitting on a 4. And by nothing special, I meant there was no spotting lasers, but one of those did rend because this is a rending weapon. That's going to be 1 wound that goes through. And the rest save on a 2. So it's going to be 3 wounds that go through with the rending that takes away their regeneration. So it'll be 3 wounds total. So 1, 2, 3. This guy's down to 1, and this guy goes away. So for this turn, the Dow Union is unable to score anything, and they're going to get rid of area dominance because that probably is not going to happen. And what they're going to pick up is Seize 1. So for the Custodians, they were able to pick up both of the Seize 3. And then over on this objective, there are only 2 heroes in the Dow army, so we're going to be able to use Slay the King. So those 3 cards scored, they're going to pick up Seize 2, which, I mean, they're already on it. Hold 5, and Total Dominance. So first activation of the turn, we are going to get a cheeky charge from these Custodians into our flamethrower suits. So for those 2 Custodians, it's 6 attacks, hitting on a 3. 4 hits, saving on a 6. It's going to be 1 suit down. 4 attacks back, hitting on a 4. 1 hit, saving on a 2. It passes. Morale test for the suits. They're gonna fail. So our Custodians have to back up 1 inch. Ow! And he stabs me in the finger. And pinned. For the Dow, their rifle unit is going to double time it that way. And they're gonna be able to get out and just put their toes on objective number 3. Who was on his way to help his commander is going to go 6 this way. And then let's see, he's going to just be out of range to fire at that squad there. This battlesuit squad with the plasma is going to do something crazy. And they're going to end up there firing down at that guy. So they're going to use their inbuilt spotting laser. So they are going to be able to hit on a 3. 9 shots on a 3. And then our Master Destroyer is going to save on a 5. That'll be the end for him. You did good, buddy. You did good. This guy's so far out there, he's just going to hold. Then our stealth suits are going to fire at that squad there. 12 shots hitting on a 4. 2 hits saving on a 2. And then 4 rending shots saving on a 5. That'll be 3 wounds. So 1, 2, 3, and then this guy needs a morale test. Passing on a 3. Yep, he's good. So for objectives, the Tau were able to get Big Game Hunter for killing off the Master Destroyer since he had toughness of 9. And they were also able to score 2 points from Shifting Strategy on Objective 3 because these guys held it last turn, and this turn, the Tau hold it. And then over here, the Custodians were able to take Seize 2 and Hold 2 because they've been here for the entirety of turn number 4. So with a final score of 5-11, the Custodian Brotherhood is our winner. The Tau Union were able to leverage their long-range firepower, but in doing that, they gave up board position to the Custodians, who were able to just rack up the score. The Custodians, being one tough nut to crack, didn't hurt anything. So I hope you guys liked the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, because we do this every week. Next week, we're going back to the Age of Fantasy, where it's going to be the vampiric undead zombie army versus the deep sea elves. That one should be interesting. This coming Wednesday will be the continuation of our Age of Fantasy small-scale campaign. After talking to everyone on the Discord, I decided to move it to every 3 weeks. This gives people more time to be able to find opponents, build armies, and play their games to send in the results. So look forward to that. It's going to be kind of an exhibition week because our 2 War Masters have decided to not get into a fight this week. But there will be something there for you guys to watch. And a new mission for the viewers that play for the upcoming campaign round. So that is going to be the end of the video for today. I hope everyone's being well out there. Remember, it's just a game. Don't take it too seriously. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.